Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Weekman, and we have a special guest. Of course, this week we always have special guests, but in this case we even have a more special guest just because what he's doing and the influence that he's having with individuals in the outdoors and fishing. So Terry, tell him who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. What a great venue out here with the water in the background. It's just fantastic. But again, Terry Crafton. I'm the Western Regional Director for CAST for Kids. We are a 30-year-old organization, a nonprofit organization that really focuses on three areas of our mission. We want to enrich the lives of special need kids. We want to support their families. And then we really want to strengthen communities around that. And we do it all around the platform of fishing.
Oh yeah. So let's start with the events. So you have events, and we'll just go through the various steps. So if someone's listening or they're watching the video, they'll know what's happening there at the event. So tell them, how do you know? Where do you know you're going to set these events up? They're just not random. You're finding places that are accessible.
Sure. Yeah. We'll host about 90 events across the nation this year. So if there's a water to be able to fish and a person that wants to be a host for the event, that's where we start. Really the host coordinator is what really ignites a new event in a certain area. And we do events across the nation. We'll do them from the Bay Area all the way out to New York. As a matter of fact, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we held an event in Central Park, downtown New York City.
Oh, wow.
Which is fantastic. I mean, these kids with their parents are taking the subway or a bus to Central Park. They're fishing for a day or a half a day, and during our event, they receive a new rod and reel and a tackle box. So they're on their way home after a great day of fishing, holding this rod and reel and a tackle box on the subway, and just a huge smile because of the great event. But we really rely on someone standing up and saying, "I want to host a new event," and once they do, CAST for Kids has all the tools to make them successful. We come alongside them. We have online tools and services that they can walk through point by point, really to keep them on track, to tell them what to do, when to do it. And then a regional director is by their side 100% of the time. So they really support them along the way to make sure that everything is on track and they have a great event and impact a bunch of kids.
So a host, does it cost the host anything to be the host of the event?
Yeah, the host is a volunteer that stands up, and we really say, here's what you need to be successful.
Right.
Our events, we'll step back and say our events are half-day fishing events. And so CAST for Kids provides a package for them that they order that includes the rods, the reels, hats, T-shirts, tackle boxes, and plaques for the award ceremony. So that event fee is, we have an event fee that they have to raise for their through sponsorship.
Okay.
And then we tell them how to work with their community to find volunteers and find the participants. And we build a website specific for them. So everything's turnkey, registration's online. And then the way they go. And again, we'll do 90 events throughout the country. So 90 hosts have been successful in hosting these. And we're growing. So we're always looking for new hosts to stand up and say, I want to do this. I want to impact a special child and their family. And I want to build a community around this.
Let's talk about who's there. Let's start with the children, the youth that are coming to the event. How are they selected? And what are the ages?
Yeah, so typically we're looking for a special needs child that is around the age of 8 to 18.
Okay.
And that's our general range. And these children have an array of special needs. It could be that they're on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. They could be a Down syndrome child. They could have cerebral palsy and be wheelchair bound. But there's many other areas. They could be a foster child that hasn't had a great day to smile or get excited about anything in a very long time. So it's pretty broad. We let the parents really filter out that area. But once they come, we're so excited when they get there because the parents realize that this is a safe environment. This is going to be an environment that welcomes them, that celebrates them, and they're just going to have a great time.
And so, how many usually attend? How many youth do you usually have at these events?
Yeah, that we try to really target 40. We think 40
40.
is a good number because it builds a critical mass where everyone can catch fish and celebrate and rally around them.
Right.
But we want to limit it to about that number because we have a celebration ceremony at the end that's just phenomenal. And we call up every single child that's at the event
Right.
and celebrate them and present them a plaque. And it's such a neat experience as that child is walking up through what I call the rally alley,
Right.
because we have volunteers and we have parents on the side. We're cheering them on, we're celebrating them, and they have a huge smile. They come up and get this plaque, and they feel really special, and they feel loved on, and we just love that. So 40 is about that number. If you go longer than that, then the day gets a little long.
Right.
So we just try to keep it at 40 and moving on from there.
Okay. So, the events, where are they held? Is it community areas, or are we talking like we're sitting here on the edge of Beaver Lake, which is a Corps of Engineer lake?
Sure.
What reservoirs, lakes, ponds? How does it happen?
It's just really a body of water where we can have access for the kids to gather around it. About
Right.
65 to 70% of our events are actually boating events where we have volunteer boaters. And when the
Gotcha.
kids show up, we assign them a boater. They go out with their parent or guardian out on the boat
Right.
and have a fantastic day. They may catch fish, they may not, but they're going to have a beautiful day on the water and they're going to have a wonderful boat ride. So that's about 65% of them. 70s, and the rest are shore events. And a shore event can happen anywhere from Central Park Pond,
Right.
downtown New York City, all the way to Beaver Lake or Lake Gunnersville or Sam Rayburn or some of the more historic reservoirs and fishing areas. So it's really about finding a body of water that we can access, and then we work from there. So.
Hey,
Lots of
you left out Murphy Park
Yes.
in Springdale, Arkansas. Of course, we had an event here,
Yeah.
and I was involved, along with some other people locally here. So
Yeah.
it was a good event and a lot of access. So there was wheelchair access,
Yeah.
and so that really made it easier for the people putting on and hosting it, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Murphy Park is a fantastic park. We work, of course, the state of Arkansas really supports us, and the Arkansas Game and Fish came alongside us and pre-stocked the pond so that
Right.
we had a good chance of catching some fish. And then the city built some resources around there, as you said, so it's all paved. There's a little
Yeah.
area that has a guarded rail for wheelchair-bound folks to be able to participate and fish, and restrooms and pavilions. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful area that really welcomes our type of events, that we can have a wonderful event.
Let's talk about you were talking about being on the water and talking about the access and stuff. How about liability? I'm sure people are thinking, "Oh, they're going in my boat." So how about boater volunteers, and how does that work?
Yeah. The boater volunteers, when they show up, they have to bring along, they have to sign off a form that says they have an insurance, to cover their boat and such. Cast for Kids provides an umbrella liability insurance at every single event to cover
Okay.
anything that might happen at that event. So
All right.
that's part of the package. The host
good.
volunteer raises that program fee, and that includes, liability insurance. It includes our 501c3 status. So folks
Right.
who donate are eligible for a tax-deductible donation through that process, along with the online registration, all the digital tools. We do some marketing, we provide some flyers, and then again, the rods, reels, hats, tackle boxes, all that stuff comes along with it. But we provide that entire package. That's one of the benefits of going with the Cast for Kids program.
So let's talk about sponsors and sponsorship. How does that all happen? You probably have some national sponsors that are at all the events, right? And then you probably have some more local companies.
Yeah, great question. We have, if you would think about it, 3 layers of sponsorship. The first level and the most active sponsors are the local ones. Hosting 90 events around the United States, the community really has to rally together These are fully funded, fully supported by the local community every single event. So it's fantastic to see different groups, businesses, organizations rally and come along and support them. So that's one level, and they get recognized on the back of T-shirts and posters and things of that nature. We also have, as you mentioned, a few national sponsors that provide product and support across all of our events nationally.
Give them a shout out.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Luz is a great partner with us. They support us with the rods and the reels, and Flambeau tackle boxes are always there with the child. That they can take home their brand new tackle box and get really excited about that. Pico Lure supported us with some product at the local. Yep. That's a great example of a local sponsor. It says, I want to be a part of this and do something great for these kids. We really appreciate that. AFCO stands up and supports us with some of our apparel. Yeah, that's our national team that really helps out. But what's really important also is a regional sponsor. Right. And we are looking for more of those. As I mentioned before, we'll do about 90 events across the country this year. We have 4 regions. We have a Western region, a Central region, which I manage. We have a Texas region, and then we have an East region. And if you look at the West, has about 30 events. Texas has 30. East has 30. But if you look at the Central region, and Arkansas, it forms in that Central region across, and it goes up through the heartland. We had 3 events last year.
Oh.
And everyone else is growing. Everyone else is going, and we're behind a little bit in the Central region. So we are looking for regional sponsors to stand up and say, I want to be a part of this foundation to help this grow. We'll have a couple more this year, so we'll be at 5. But we have a long ways to go to get up to that average of 30 to 35 within a region. And I can guarantee you there are kids sitting at home today, thousands of them in the Central region, saying, boy, I wish I had an opportunity to go fishing. I mean, they're just wanting to go, and we're looking for folks to stand up. We're looking for regional sponsors to support that. I can tell you an example. We were at an event 3 weeks ago, and a mom came up and said, we are so blessed that you have these events. My son came here last year for the first year and received his plaque. For the last 3 weeks before this event, he slept with that plaque every night because he was so excited about the event. So, these are just fantastic memories. These kids have just a wonderful time. They're loved on and celebrated. But we also try to equip them with not only a few fishing skills, but we want them to recognize the fact that they can overcome their limitations. We hear that from the parents afterwards. If a child is successful fishing for that day, they start to think and believe in themselves and say, I can apply this to other parts of my life and be successful. And parents write us and say, now my child's stepping out and trying new things and doing things. So it's fantastic to see what happens at these events.
I know we were there. Took some pictures. It's the moment of catching a fish, and that builds into everything because we had a meal afterwards, and so had lunch, and you could see it like all the way through. Even though they were talking about fishing, they're still talking about life and the difference of the people that were there. I think the people that volunteered. You had University of Arkansas. Their bass club was there, and so they were helping out, and
the Springdale Police,
Springdale Police,
shows up,
absolutely, they were there.
And that's the beauty behind it. In our events, we really accomplish a couple of things. As I mentioned before, we try to teach them, equip them with some fishing gear, and teach them a little bit about the basics, but really helping them understand that they can overcome limitations. The second part is these families have a very complex life. Life is busy, and in some cases, it's tough. Sometimes it takes 45 minutes to load a child in the car, drive 2 hours to our event, and then load back in and go back home. So we want the parents to say, number one, we got you covered. We got you. This event is for you. Just show up. We're going to take care of you and your child. We're going to have a great day fishing. We're going to have a wonderful lunch, and then we're going to honor and celebrate your child at the end. So that's really special. We want them to understand that they're going to be supported. They can show up at other fishing events or other events, but they're always wondering, is it going to be awkward? Is it, wonder if my child is having a tough day? Will people understand? And they know when they show up at our events, we're there for them. We're like, come on, we'll work through it. We'll get through it. So that's really special, to support that family. And then the third part is this community, as you saw. Right. When volunteers show up at our events, some of them are doctors and lawyers. Some of them, work as in the trade business. Some of them are are working at the hardware store. Some of them are teachers. They come from
Right.
all walks of life, and usually. In many circumstances, these groups of individuals don't have a common area to kind of connect and meet each other. And they
Right.
do it at our event around the sport of fishing, which is just beautiful, and they build long time friendships.
So many positive things come out of this. Then, and so if you host one, then the following year, is it easier? The next year, do things get easier? Because you have things that you can show them. Some posts or
Yeah.
some things that they can relate to.
It does get easier. We have a lot of first-year events. We have many this year because we're growing. We'll probably have our best year ever. But there are
Right.
some hosts that are on year 20, 24, 26. That's just phenomenal. But what happens is word starts to get out, to your point. People come and have a great time. They start talking about it in their community. They start sharing it. So the next year,
Right.
it's a little bit easier than the next year. It starts to grow. And then even what's more special is that some people that drove a little ways to come to your event, they go back to their own community and say, I want to do something special right here.
Right.
And that's how we grow. That's how Texas has over 30 events, because people come, they have a great time, they go back to their own community, and they say, I want to do something special in my community just like this.
Yeah, what an opportunity to make a difference in someone's life.
It is. And it's around fishing. I mean, isn't
That's
that
right.
fantastic?
So tell me, who started this? How did this all develop that someone decided, hey, we needed a cast event?
Yeah, it started 31 years ago out in the Northwest, and it was a group of individuals that wanted to create a special event for the special needs community because they recognized they weren't being invited to events, or they just weren't feeling like it was an event that they would be celebrated. So they started this up, and they worked a lot with government entities around the ponds and lakes, and just kind of started as an idea in a centralized area. And then it's just grown over the years from there. And, over the last 5 or 6 years, Jay Ellis is our executive director, and he had a big vision for really growing this out in an exponential way. And he's done a fantastic job of really driving from a leadership standpoint of view and seeing amazing growth over those 31 years. But as you know, any event any group that's doing well and on a peak, it's taken 30 years of men and women just standing up there and grinding away, and a lot of sweat and tears just to make something like this happen. So it's been built on the shoulders of some amazing people over the years.
There you go. That takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by Pico Lures. Pico Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits. We're actually going to go out and do a little trolling here in a second. It's for work, and we're going to catch some fish. So they have crankbaits. They also have soft plastic lures, and that's actually what we donated to the kids was some soft plastic, some jig heads, I believe, so that they could turn around and go fishing and catch some fish themselves. And so you can check them out at picolures.com. Terry, tell us if they want to get hold of you, if they want to be part of this, the cast, what is the complete title of it? It's
Sure.
Cast.
Yeah, it's our organization's called Cast for Kids.
Okay.
And CAST is actually an acronym. It stands for Catch a Special Thrill. And that was the thought behind it. So they can reach us at castforkids.org.
Okay.
My information's on there. Find an event. They can go down and look at an event in their state, and they can locate an event near them. There's also an area that says, I want to host, or I'm interested in talking to someone about a host. They can click on that.
Right.
Again, my contact information is on there. Or you can reach me directly. I'm at terry@castforkids.org is my email address. And so you can find me there. You can shoot me an email. You can call into our national headquarters, and they'll forward it to me. But a couple different ways to reach us. We're on Facebook and Instagram and all the general social media platforms as well.
All right. Sounds good. Well, that means it's time. We need to keep going. We need to go fishing.
Yeah.
But appreciate you coming and being part of the show. Like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.
All right.